live.
All right, we're back with the Andrew Clayton Show today. Third time is, well, I don't know if I want to say it's a charm because everyone's been charming. As everybody knows, Andrew Clayton's coming off of a fresh new win, 2 big shows in a row at Clash on the Coast. Welcome back to the show, Andrew, and your girlfriend Donna is joining us today. So welcome to you both.
Well, thank you guys.
Thank you.
We appreciate having us on again. And I'll ask my agent if I can be on the show permanently, but I'm kind of busy right now.
It doesn't pay very well anyway, so it'd be a really bad agent if they recommended you.
Neither does strongman, so it just it kind of fits the bill. So
I mean, winning 2 big shows back to back pays a lot more
than losing. Yeah.
I mean, it definitely pays more than losing, but I'm saying, it pays more than doing podcasts too at this point. So, lots of questions. I don't even know where to start. Watching you perform again was absolutely phenomenal. You're coming off of what was it, 2 years of not competing, correct?
It was 2019 in August and then 2022 in March. So a little over 2 years of no strongman. Yeah.
And just coming out as a dominant force. Your performance at both of these shows, going into OSG, you didn't even have to do the stones, winning it, finishing out, almost, I would say even more profoundly with the Atlas Stones at Clash on the Coast. It was like you could have gone all day and just knocked out those last. The intensity of you finishing that event was, phenomenal. And I'm fanboying a little bit because it was insane, man. And I just cannot congratulate you enough. Why don't you walk us through? Going into the heats. I know you wanted to talk a little bit about behind the scenes. Donna can speak to that. I know our viewers are always curious on, what the prep is going in, the mindset, and how you manage the stress and everything that goes into, especially competing in weight class strongman, making the weight cut, and then bouncing back and performing at an extraordinarily high level.
Yeah, so I kind of walked through. So it was obviously, well, not obviously, but it was my first time at Clash, and I know you have experience there. And obviously, a lot of people have been watching over the years, so it's faster paced, multiple day. They restart the points on the second day, so that's unlike OSG. I guess the field is roughly the same. Some might say it's a little bit more, it's concentrated better, right? Because the qualifiers are a little different. I would say it's probably about the same talent as OSG. Maybe there's a couple towards the top end, you have a little bit more concentrated, but it's really hard to say. But yeah, so obviously the goal is get through the qualifiers, which I was already they don't seed you necessarily, but he did randomize based on people that won a qualifier versus got other placings or other ways to qualify. So where I was in the heat was essentially I was the number 1 seed. I'm sure everybody kind of expected me to win out of that heat, even though there were some really good guys in that heat. There's probably about 4 people. Everybody can possibly make it to the finals, but I would say realistically, there's 4 people that were going to make it from the finals. Sorry, I'm hearing my chair almost fall apart. I guess I'm no longer 105.
You got to lose some weight, man.
Yeah, I'm actually lighter than I was when I weighed in because I've been slacking on eating, but because I'm just tired of just eating like crazy, after weigh-ins. But yeah, so got through the qualifiers, which I think were a little bit tougher in the sense of just really odd events and just it's just kind of crazy with 30. Well, it was 30 people. It was going to be 31. Just kind of go, and there were different order on events. We didn't know the order of when we knew the events, we knew what order we were doing them in until literally last minute. And it's you got to change your shoes, you got to change your equipment. Oh, you're over here, over there, and it's just hard. It's just frustrating. Obviously you adapt to that stress. So I kind of figured I would be leading that, and luckily I wasn't as dominant in that as I thought I should be. I realistically should have probably won every event in the qualifier, but got there with plenty of spare. It was really a fight for second. And then the finals, even though 3 of the events were done last year and guys had practice on the dumbbell, I was very confident. I actually did something really dumb. I hit the dumbbell for a double, in warm-ups in my flats. So I wasn't even in my lifters. I didn't even have my proper elbow sleeves on. A little bit of it was to mess with people, but also just that dumbbell feels so good. I wanted this feel what it felt like to drop it and pick it up and hit another rep. So I probably hit 2 reps under 10 seconds in warm-ups. But yeah, I mean, everything went pretty much according to plan except for the deadlift. It's just I'm kind of losing my train of thought as I entire. But yeah,
tell us what happened with that deadlift. I mean, I know you posted about it, and unfortunately, I mean, I didn't get a chance to quite follow up on that. And I mean, for anybody else that hasn't, I know you kind of posted about what happened with the deadlift.
So obviously I'm fine right now. Like I'm not fine, but obviously I'm sitting here and I'm not like in a sling or something like that. The show was really fast paced. I was smart. I warmed up the dumbbell and the deadlift primarily. And we had to pick the yoke the other height, but I don't worry about that. So the yoke. So I didn't really pick the yoke. I didn't pick the keg. I didn't pick a sandbag. I didn't pick a stone. Obviously, no one ever does that. I really made sure my adductors were opened up because I figured sumo somebody was gonna tear their adductor. I am surprised no one tore their adductor. You got 12 athletes that don't do sumo very frequently on a sloped surface, running up to the bar and yanking it. And you're telling me no one tore their adductor? I was surprised. And poor warm-ups. But warmed up to, I think, 405 on sumo. I might have hit something like 545 conventional and warm-ups. I can't remember. I don't think I did. Hit the dumbbell, like I said, for a double. Felt really warm, felt good. Went out there. I was really fast. I think I was ahead of Dan getting to the last bar and pulled the first rep. It's out of groove a little bit. We're on a sloped ground. My straps probably aren't even. The bar actually had a little bit of whip. I thought it was going to be a little bit stiffer bar. And they had allowed us to do just down calls, but not touch and go. So it's like really hard to know what you're supposed to do. So I was like trying to like keep the slack out of the bar or just trying to be a little bit more like catch the momentum or catch the groove. Sure. And I pulled the second rep and I got to about my knees and I just like felt a pop down the right side of my back. And it just reminded me of Big Laws when he tore his lat. And it just like felt kind of like that. But I was able to like feel my lat. But like when I went to pull the next rep, it definitely hurt. Tried to coast it. And then the third, so I dropped it. I restrapped it and I pulled again. And then it was cramping or just hurting or whatever. So I moved my foot back, tried one more time. I tried to like kind of break out the floor, like really, softly, which is kind of hard to move weight that way. And then obviously if I don't have speed off the floor, I can't pull through the mid range. So I kind of was like, shoot. And of course, start rushing in my head, like, oh man, this might be it. Oh, they're going to beat me because I hurt myself. Like, oh, it's about time I hurt myself again. Cause like I've been dominating these shows. I thought, maybe I overtrained. And then Bobby Thompson's like, is it emotional or physical? I was kind of always like this. I guess Donna can speak to it a little bit more, but I basically just went to Donna and just gave her a hug and said I tore my lat. And then my older brother Phil, was being way too freaking hype. And he was like, I wanted to make sure he knew. So I just went up to him and basically did the same thing. Said, hey man, I tore my lat. And then his brother Kyle kind of figured it out. But we didn't really like tell anyone. I got ibuprofen and put balm on. I didn't want anyone else to know. A lot of people go up to people in the contest and, they go up to like the chiropractor in the back room or whoever's there. And it's like, I didn't want to get on some table to like show people I'm hurting. So I just kind of like sucked it up. And it was like freaking pissed off for the next event.
I think a lot of people just saw you like pissed off after that.
I was pretty pissed off.
Yeah, pretty mad. But I think just after telling us, we pretty much knew like him saying that didn't mean he was going to stop. Like it was pretty much just like, how can we band-aid this and keep going? So we kind of all just like were there and just like whatever he needed, just supported. And whatever he said he needed us to do, we did. And just we knew he was in pain that entire time. So we're just like on it and just, I think to everyone else, it kind of looked a little like he was just bossing us around, but we were really like all just very concerned that like he's doing this and he could really be seriously injured. And we don't know like at what point it could all fall apart. So we're just kind of like, there to support however far he can get with that injury being like looming on all of us. And, obviously just being worried, like, all right, he has a torn lat. He's going to just finish the rest of the competition. Like everything's fine, but it's okay.
I will say it probably isn't a torn lat. I talked to a physical therapist friend of mine, Greg, and he thinks of some other stuff with the shoulder. I'm not going to get into all the detail. And someone's going to be, it's not really torn, but come on, man. People pull out of competitions all the time. I mean, I was trying to pull it. You know what I mean? Like she slapped me in the face before I did the event. I'm pretty sure I was in the zone. So it's not like I'm like, oh man, I stubbed my toe. I can't pull the deadlift. Like, but it starts. I mean, obviously I took ibuprofen and, adrenaline balm on my back, like a lot between every event, and it's moving fast enough to where whatever adrenaline, endorphins, whatever is going. So, but yeah, it was really tough because, I figured somebody would be a slouch in that event. So even getting 4 total reps, which was 2 reps on the final deadlift, would give me more than 1 point. I got last. So in that way, I could have just done nothing. I literally could just skip the event, save my energy. The order would have been the same for the next event because they didn't reorder till the stones. And I could come out. I mean, not that it would have affected because I won the last 3 events. But yeah, it was just very frustrating because I wanted to demonstrate I was also really good at deadlift. You can't say what you can do in training, but my track record shows I do the same or better than what I do in training. I rarely do worse. And if it's worse, it's like it's a different dumbbell or a different log or whatever. So I'm very confident I would have hit 8 to 9 total reps. And I beat Dan to the last bar, so I would have had more time.
I saw that. He was moving fast too. And then you just bounced right ahead of him.
I hook gripped the sumo deadlift.
Well, I think that was it. He had, he was using those figure 8s and you had, it looked like you had just the, what are they? Like the Cerberus,
Versa grips.
Versa grips. Yeah.
Yep.
That was smart.
I got that from Mark O'Connor. I already thought about doing it, but doing it for sumo just took a little bit too much time because obviously you're trying to like open up and get your hips close to the bar. And I actually my best sumo pull I hook gripped in training. I think I pulled like, I don't know, 675 or something. So I'm actually pretty good at sumo as far as like a strongman. But yeah, so I had tape on my thumbs for sumo just in case I didn't want to rip my thumbs up because we had other events I needed my thumbs or just not get blood all over the place. But yeah, that was frustrating. But I'm glad that the other events went to plan. I don't know if you heard the ESPN interview, but after I won the first event, I basically said I'm going to win at least 3 more. So I kind of had to win the last 3 because that's the only way, mathematically, that's the only way you can win 3 more is if you win the last 3 if you didn't win the second one. So
right. So, I mean, going back to, the injury, having everybody helping you, it really demonstrates how very important it is to have people that are on your side. I mean, having the right people and the right mindset in a big competition like this, and having, the ability to push through adversity, if you will, because of that support system. You want to tell us more about the people that you bring, why you bring them, and what your what the real benefit is to you specifically with bringing that group of people with you?
Yeah, so I'll let Donna take over this at least initially. So Donna's experience is a little unique. This is her first contest helping me, and she's I don't want to be like mean, like you're relatively new to strongman, like she's only done 1 show. So this is, I mean, you're with someone who's like doing a high level show, and like I conduct myself like a professional. Like I didn't necessarily have a super strict itinerary this time, but I mean, I have a plan for everything I'm doing. But yeah, if you want to run them through, I guess you could say like before the contest, and then what we did when we were at the contest, what your responsibilities were, things you focused on.
Right, starting from the weight cut.
That works.
Maybe the drive.
One of the drive too, yeah.
Drive. So like we got on the road Wednesday, and he was starting. You started Wednesday morning, the weight cut. And so he wanted to put the sauna suit on in the car on the way, which was like 3 hours, right? So he had the sauna suit on, and then we're flipping back from like heat and then like taking a break. So I essentially got a sauna on a 3-hour drive as well.
You didn't do the blast to AC on one side and heat on the other?
No,
my car's not fancy enough.
Yeah.
Oh man.
One switch. So. But it was fine. It wasn't bad. I was like, luckily I like heat over cold. So I was like, this is fine. We'll be fine. We'll get through this. So I think just having my support through that is like, how many people want to sit in a hot car for 3 hours? But then once we got there, you were feeling like, did you weigh yourself when we got there?
Yeah. So the weight cut actually went pretty easily.
Yeah. Surprisingly, we were a little concerned, but then once we got there, you have the scale to weigh. I actually
made weight the night before and had like a protein bar, and like, this is stupid idea. Don't ever do this. If you have a protein stick or like a meat stick, it just has a lot of sodium. Don't eat that when you can't really have water because it's not smart. But I ended up having a whole Pedialyte and a little meat stick thing and protein bar the night before. I basically just hop on the scale, sip until I got close again. Yeah, she
really
had,
just sweat it out.
Yeah, she had to help me using like the water pills and all these things are taking effect still. So you go in the bathroom and then like I took a sweat stick, which I didn't think was gonna be very strong, and then all of a sudden I'm like sweating in my bed, and she's like having to help me like not be cold because I'm sweating but I'm cold. So yeah, there's a lot of support behind the scenes, and her responsibility is like
calm.
Yeah, keep you calm, keep me calm, but also just like when you're doing a competition, you don't want to show your competitors that you're struggling. So it's like you're constantly on when you're around people, and then when you're in private, you got to be like not on. So obviously, I'm never going to let my competitors see that like it wasn't the hardest weight cut ever. But if it was hard, I'm not going to walk out like through the lobby. No, I'm walking carrying a backpack or something. Like I'm making sure they're like, oh man, he looks kind of normal. Weigh-ins went really well. As far as she helped with all the errands and
getting all the drinks prepped. And
your drinks prepped, getting
the lunch, like our cooler packed, and
anything I could outsource that she knew how to do. I think picking the people based on what jobs they know how to do well. So, she could shop for me because she knows what kind of food they get. Whereas like maybe my brother would struggle with that, finding things in the grocery store really quickly.
But then he was better at like what certain things you needed.
Well, also just like I used to train him. So my older brother Phil, like we started off, and it's actually kind of cool because we used to go to this YMCA that's about it went out of business, but the location was probably about 3 or 4 miles from where I live now. And they used to think we were like freaking goobers, like coming in there, like training, doing like weird overhead carries and overhead push press out of the rack, and only had one squat rack. And he did a couple of strongman competitions, but like here I'm on freaking ESPN, and we're like basically like walking through the crowd, and like I'm the guy to beat. And I thought it was really cool because like I'm sharing that moment with my older brother who like used to drive me to the gym, and we used to just like go ham every Tuesday. You do squats and deadlifts, but he definitely got in my head, and he definitely got really hyped. He's just a really loud person as far as like when he's excited. So like he's like yelling like they're all scared of you. I'm like, Phil, man, I gotta back that up out there, man. Like, we're in the athlete area. But I think it really helped having like an entourage because I obviously had her kind of keeping me more calm and just like be able to tell her things that like be a little bit more personal how I'm feeling. And obviously I'm like in the hotel room. I don't have to be like presenting myself as put together. And then I have my brother and his brother there, and they're more hype and carrying things and just kind of like taking up space. Even like people don't realize like how intimidating like having 3 people tagging around you all the time is. And then my mom and my other brothers came out and had signs in the crowd for the finals. So like those types of things do mentally affect people. Like when you're walking through a room of like 12 competitors, with some of them have their significant others, some don't because they just don't know how to help them. And then you're walking through like 3 people, and you're walking after you win an event and just like take up space. You can't tell me that doesn't get in some people's heads. People. Like I was telling her, like George Foreman did that, I think, in Africa or whatever. And it's just like those things like are things that like fighters do and stuff. They have an entourage that intimidates the other team. But even from a non-mental standpoint, like I needed those people. I needed her there for like my emotional support. I needed my brother there because he knows a little bit more about the equipment and he can push me. And then having another hand there to be able to hold the fan, get this, run this errand. I actually tore I didn't plan on wearing those gold shoes for both days. I actually ripped the eyelets out of my shoes I was going to wear for the qualifiers. First, then I needed to tie them, and I was like, run to the hotel room. I got a backup pair of shoes. Thank God. And I was like, I guess we're wearing the gold shoes. I better win the whole thing. Yeah.
Yeah. That's smart to have backups because I've traveled and had to go and find a replacement pair of shoes last minute in a town that I don't know.
Yep.
Rolling through an Uber. Do you checklist before you travel?
I kind of have something in my phone. I've done it.
You had it on the whiteboard.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, he had a whole whiteboard of everything we needed.
Yeah, so I kind of and then we went to Walmart and forgot to take a picture of the whiteboard. So then we just we mentally remembered it all, which is really impressive because we only forgot 2 things. Yeah. Well, I don't remember what they were, but I actually brought a lot of stuff that I could have just bought there. It's good. I drove there. It's just being over prepared, just like it's hard to be over prepared, but it's like I wanted I have everything. Like the hotel didn't have a microwave. I already have a microwave in my car.
Yeah.
So I just carried that microwave up to the room.
Yeah.
Well, she did. But yeah, so the microwave's in the room now.
Gotta conserve energy, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So
that's what I ask why if you checklist, because I've had that conversation with other people before. They think it's crazy. And after I had to go and find like a replacement pair of shoes, like every show that I go to, I put a checklist and I like check it twice to make sure I have everything. Plus, and I over prepare too, like you said, because it makes it so much easier. If I can pack dry goods or food or anything in my suitcase, I do it because that's one less trip. It's one less thing to have to worry about when I'm weight cutting and going into competition. So that's huge.
All my equipment's out. Like, so it used to kind of be spread a little bit differently, but now since it's in my home gym, it's just like hanging up. So it's really just like make sure I take everything that's hanging up, and then obviously I usually just run to the events. Say, do I have what I would wear for this event? But with Clash, I did try to streamline, and I mean, I still brought a lot of stuff, but like I knew I wasn't gonna have a lot of time to change things. So I basically wore the same cuffs and sleeves in my lower body. I wore my compression socks the whole time. I think Clash did teach me to kind of like get a little better with like switching between events. I actually didn't think it was that bad switching between the events. I think the chaos was more just in the unknown. Like we didn't know the order till the morning of. We didn't know the event order till the morning of. Like if you had told me that just the night before, and I could just think in my head like, oh, I gotta change my lifters to my shoes to barefoot back to my shoes or whatever the order. That right there would have been enough planning so that I could tell her or tell my brother, hey, I gotta take these shoes off. And I thought at one point I was gonna have to like have them tie my shoes, and I don't like that because I like there's certain tension to the shoes and how I tie them. Very like I freaking lace my shoes. I put new laces in, and I like had to do it myself, right? Like I had to do it the way I do it. But yeah, it wasn't as bad as I thought. Obviously, we didn't get to warm up the last 4 events in Clash, but like who warms up sandbag the shoulder and Atlas stones? You just don't warm those up. So everything was extension based after deadlift. So if your back wasn't freaking warm already, like I don't know, it was a perfect format for a fast-paced show.
Yeah, I mean, I think especially when you're going that fast, there's less need to warm up because I mean, I don't know what it was like this year. We had Tyler Purdue on before Clash, and I brought up our heat. I think there was a couple of heats that we did the chain drag carry medley, and within 8 minutes of finishing, I was under the bar for the squat. Absolutely zero warm up for a 600-pound squat.
I heard about that. I'm glad we didn't have a squat.
Yeah. So, but I love the fast pace, and I think it's from an entertainment perspective, it's pretty amazing. It's easy. It's more consumable, right? Easier to follow. Keeps people's attention. Were there any last minute changes this year? I mean, you said like the order wasn't really known, but anything else that you think could have maybe thrown a wrench into your groove or your plan?
So the order of the events that were released, Tyler did keep us pretty well informed, so nothing was like too big of a surprise. And John, I do see you trying to make a comment, so please interrupt me if you don't want to make a comment.
Interrupt me too. He's bad about interrupting because I just I'll talk and talk, and then we have you, Andrew. You like to talk too, just great.
So you need to put it back in her place.
Yeah.
But no, I knew that the order for the qualifiers was going to vary based on heats because the other guys said he kind of hinted at like it was going to be like 3 events and then we'd finish the 2 at the same time, or I don't know. So I was like, shoot, it's going to change. The initial order he gave out was perfect because it was like press, then deadlift, and the other 3. Still ended up being pretty good. I'll go and give a little hot take. I know a lot of guys tore their bicep on the tire. I think that had to do a little bit more with the lack of training the tire and also the event order because no one tore their bicep in my heat. So that who knows, maybe event order. Also, I've trained tire before, and I've trained it like a lot back in the day. Like before the tire event, I was talking to my brother because one time we had this tiny 500-pound tire, and we did like 50 flips straight on it. I was like, hey Phil, man, you remember we did those 50 flips on that tire? He's like, yeah. He's like, they ain't ready for this. So like, yeah, it's just like a lot of guys had never done tire, but no, he kept us pretty informed. I don't think anything really changed in the qualifiers. That he told us before that they would have to change the distance for the yoke. I don't even know if it really changed much. I know it was lighter, and I know they took away the last keg last minute. It was going to be 3 kegs.
Right.
Really bummer because I really want to do all 3. I don't think it would affect the outcome because I won that event. but it would have been cool for the crowd because I was ready to go.
Well, I know you turned around and you're like, what? There isn't any more?
Yeah, that's because I wanted the yoke to be 800 and I wanted the kegs to be all three of them, and I wanted them all to be 50 feet. So I wanted to essentially be 200 feet of work. And when I was in Arizona with her, I did the whole medley, like exact weights, really hard kegs. She actually her and her friend had to take out, it was a sand and lead shot mix. The keg was 375. So basically the bottom of the keg was most of the weight after she took out the about 40-ish pounds. So it's just lopsided as heck. So I was like, man, if it's a normal keg, I'm going to blow this event up. But I still bobbled one of the kegs. So I was just going too fast. But yeah, I won by 10 seconds. So I really wanted to demonstrate what speed and athleticism is. I think that's my goal, is just to show the art form of strongman. I want it to look effortless. I want it to look good. I don't want it to look like I'm struggling. On the dumbbell, I want it to look crisp. So I think I did a pretty good job. Like I said, the deadlift was the only one I couldn't demonstrate my grit and a little bit more of the deadlift portion. But the events I think I did a good job. But yeah, not too many changes. Pace wasn't too different. Tyler said they ran faster than the year prior. I was like, really? Because I thought I got enough rest. The temperature was great being in March over April for sure. Yeah. I think it would have been 5 to 10 degrees hotter, and I think that would have definitely sucked me down a little bit in energy by about 5%. So yeah, it was pretty much ideal. And I got to go in the last heat in the finals, which I did earn because I won my heat, but it was drawing from the hat. So who knows? Maybe I go 1 or 2 heats earlier. I don't see one of the times, but yeah, it basically worked. Everything went perfect other than the deadlift in my favor, and I'm pretty blessed for that.
But I mean, it kind of, it's a testament to you, and John. I'm gonna let you talk, but I just want to say this last thing. It is definitely a testament to your athleticism, overall strength, being a well-rounded athlete, because you, again, at OSG, you didn't have to do an event. You didn't have to do the final event either. So, I mean, it just shows how incredible an athlete you are. And, and I just want to say kudos to you that, you didn't need that event anyway. Right.
Yeah.
And,
all the guys are good
that's huge. I know you wanted it, but you didn't need it.
A lot of the guys are good athletes, and I feel like sometimes it's me being braggadocious. The guys are really good athletes, but
sure,
it's just one of those things where, as a competitor, and someone with a lot of experience, I'm sure you feel the same ways. We put a lot of time and effort to Matt. I know I talked to McKeegan, and just because what they do in the UK is different, his access, he didn't have heavy kegs. And we were talking about how that affected his standing because his coach was yeah, just get stronger. It's yeah, that works until you're going against someone basically like me, who knows how to turn the handle and grab it as I'm walking and already be an extension. You can't just muscle it and beat me. I'm going to be really quick off the grab. So yeah, I mean, when you're working against professionals, you have to be on point. And they scared the crap out of me because these guys, a lot of them had access to the equipment. It's gotten better now. So I'm seeing guys do the 5-6 keg medley on the toss in the qualifiers. I'm shoot, I only have 1 keg. So I had to drive 6 hours round trip and train for 3 hours to do basically the dumbbell for 2 sets and the keg. And so it took a whole day off work essentially to just train those 2 events. So yeah, it was tough. John.
Yeah. Okay. So before, you for one, you did awesome. But we had a question come in from a friend of the show, Yanni. He was the MC at the event,
of course, Yanni.
Everything. Yeah. So he asked, what are the pros and cons of being so passionate on the competition floor, and how do you balance that energy? Like you said, of having to kind of turn it on and turn it off. Yeah. So it's a 2-part because it's how do you deal with it and how does she deal with it? Because it's
it's intense.
Being very passionate, aka yelling and screaming.
Yeah, that's because you do you have that switch of really, really intense energy, but then you can see it kind of simmer down as you walk over to Donna.
Well, I told I was talking to Joe because he did podcasts there and interviews and stuff, and it's really compartmentalized. I mean, she can speak more to it, but I mean, do you really think I walk around yelling and screaming all the time? That's kind of unrealistic. So it's very compartmentalized. And also I think at sometimes I walk around and amped up. It is very personal. I do it because I genuinely who I am. But I also know that if you walk by people and show that you're really in it, if they're kind of teetering on oh, I don't know if this event's going to go well, it can kind of knock them off that fence and they can lose some confidence. And I did try to mess with some competitors and some of them did really well. They just didn't break by it. And I think everybody's done. I mean, people have done it to me. you know, and it's just, you can tell when somebody's hungry and wants to do well. And I think in the finals, I don't think anyone was really there that would be bothered by it. Like if I straight up said like, hey, I'm going to beat you at this event, they'd be like, whatever, I'm going to try harder than you. But like in the qualifiers, you could tell a couple people were kind of like really nervous. I mean, it's a big show for them. And for me, it's just like another day in the office, because like, I don't plan on losing. To them, they're just trying to, you know, like Bobby had a great speech of like 1/3 of the people here are just happy to be here. There's 1/3 that think they can do whatever. And there's 1/3 that actually can. Those aren't the exact words, but he said that both in the qualifiers and finals. And I think it's so true. Some of the guys in the finals were still just happy to be in the finals. And if you're going to win the show, you're not happy to be in the finals. You're only happy if you get first place. Right. And that's why McKeegan and Dan, like, you know, they might say they're happy, but like, I know they were trying to, you know, best me. And that's what I freaking respect about those two is like, bring it till the end. Don't be this like, oh, I'm happy to be there type person. And neither of them were. So
Dan's I mean, we were kind of talking earlier. I'm a huge fan of Dan's too. Dan's an amazing athlete. I mean, there's a lot of amazing athletes. I mean, you got Ricky Mojigemi, Frankie Pro, right? I mean, some amazing athletes, guys that have been into the finals multiple times, right? I mean, Dan's been in the finals, I think, every year since year one. I think Richie has two.
Yep.
And I think this is Frankie's second year. So, I mean, amazing competitors. And Dan, I mean, I thought it was really cool that you and him paired up because he took second at OSG also, right? And so I'm being able to see that kind of face-to-face, man-to-man competition sort of rematch was exceptionally, in my opinion, was exceptional, right? It was amazing to watch. And you had a couple of good events. I mean, the sandbag to shoulder where, I mean, it was basically a tie. I don't know who really pulled up.
So I won. I did showboat and hold the sandbag too long. He gave me the down call. I basically was holding it. Did the same thing on the dumbbell. It's me and showboat, making sure everybody knows I got the last rep. But I was shocked when I watched the video back because I saw him out of the corner of my eye, like moving quick. And I know he does the different technique on the sandbag, and I figured mine is superior. But I did make a couple mistakes, but he also got a lot faster. And at OSG, I think I beat him by like 5 or 6 seconds to 350, and I only beat him by about a second or maybe a second and a half to 320. So in that mid-range, I think he's basically perfected his form to be pretty close, if not as good as mine. So yeah, he definitely came close there. And I'm trying to think what else he came really close on. But he's a super consistent. And I told him after, I said, you know, it would really suck for me to lose the show if I won 4 events and obviously the deadlift issue happened. But like, that's how it should go, because like, even myself, I'd rather get top 3 every event or top 2 or whatever than to win a bunch of events. I mean, that's what I've done in the past. I've just always been a really consistent athlete. I do agree with what Big Law says, like have a weapon event. And I do. And I obviously had some, but like if I won 3 or 4 and I lost, that's my own freaking fault for allowing myself to have a weakness that's like so low that someone else can get basically top 3 and win. So.
I was going to say, it's also having that mentality that you're going to win. Like, I think from my perspective, it's like from like, I don't know how many weeks out, it's just like, I'm winning this. Like, this is mine to win. And like every moment is like just having that in his head that I'm the winner. And it's like,
yeah, we kind of planned
manifesting
out.
It.
We had kind of planned out what we were going to do when we won. So
yeah, having plans for what we're celebrating when we win and how we're going to do it. And just like, that's what's going to happen, and not letting anything get in the way of that. Yeah, she bought me like $100 worth of cigars, so it's kind of hard to smoke those if you don't win. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. It really was a blessing. I mean, I was dealing with some other things on the way there that I can't really talk about, but like be able to compartmentalize, because that's kind of like the original question was like, you know, be able to compartmentalize things, and I think that's what you have to do when you're in that stage. And I think it does rub people the wrong way when you're loud and vocal. Like I said before, it's not how I am all the time. I mean, I don't like yell and scream at her and stuff. I probably raise my voice just because who I am. I get a little loud. But like, I think people think that's how I am all the time. It really isn't. I mean, I've been on enough podcasts and stuff. Like, I mean, my neighbors probably don't realize I'm like a freaking savage and strongman because I'm like the guy that like walks and reads a book and like hangs out with my mom's little like 13-pound dog, you know. And then they're like, "What? You like
threw a stone while chanting and yelling and screaming and banging your chest, so it's definitely like a smaller, it's like an alter ego, I guess, in some ways.
No, that makes sense. So Donna, like how so you kind of touched on it of like how you handle it and everything, but do you just like give him space, or is there times where you have to like go in and tame the beast or anything, or does it usually work well, the compartmentalization?
Well, I think I try to, at least for the competition, was amping him up, right? Like be like on that same page, like you're the best, you're gonna win, like telling him those same thoughts he's telling himself through that whole time. But then I think once that like day one was over, we go back to the room, we chill, we bring the heart rate down, we are like more peaceful and calm and serene to try to just bring everything down. And then like
because on day two, I didn't really want to even compete. I was pretty tired.
Yeah, it takes a lot out of you from that first day, and you still have to go back and do it again. So it's really getting a lot of rest and coming back down from that, and then maybe an hour or two before start amping up again and getting your head in that mindset, getting prepared, getting focused, and just I think in those hours right before he does like a little bit of space to just like listen. You have certain things you listen to and like just get your head in the
I don't want people to talk to me. Like I just don't want people to talk to me because I'm like getting in the zone. So
So I think like his brothers show up and we're just kind of quiet. We like let him have his space, let him get what things he needs to prepare. Like say, what do you need us to prepare? It just gets very like logical, very like get the job done in those like moments leading up to it. And then after the win, again, you like let all that come down and you're just normal again. So it's just like a shift in everybody. And we're kind of it was nice. We're just like all on the same page of knowing how he is, how he needs things to be, and being on that same page with him. And it becomes more logical and get the job done without really a lot of emotion involved. And then afterwards you let yourself feel kind of all the emotions and the excitement and so it is, we all kind of flow together. It was really good. Good team.
It puts a lot of pressure on me to like obviously do well for them, but that's also like motivation. I think if people had more pressure to like live up to expectation from others as well as themselves, they'd probably do better. I have people that come help me, and like I had a neighbor come help me just do arm over arm. He had to drive the truck because my friend had to help me actually pull the rope out. So my friend's coming, he has a pregnant wife, and then my neighbor is just like, he's retired, so he's kind of bored probably, but he's coming and he's helping me do that, and then she's helping me, and then my brother's coming out. He's having to drive up from Jacksonville, and his brother's coming, and my family. It's like why would I waste all these people's time to come show up? So it seems really selfish, like they're all about me. But in my mind, like I wish Strongman paid more money. Because I'm sure you guys know I donate to charity every contest, and then I actually tip my coach, and I try to buy gifts for whoever helps me train. So I actually gave my training partner my glute ham raise because I upgraded mine. So people think I'm probably like, I don't know, are we allowed to say dick on the podcast?
Dude, this is the world's strongest opinion. I mean, today it's the Andrew Clayton show, but in other times it's the world's strongest opinions, and so like everything is game here. Like,
so basically, people think I'm a dick, but I don't think a lot of people like know me. So if you support me, I try really hard to like pay that back. And if Strongman made more money, then people that supported me would make more money or get more money. That's how I see it. It's just unfortunately Strongman doesn't make a ton of money, and Clash just didn't have as many sponsors this year. But yeah, I'm really thankful for all their help, and I tried to. It was about me for the 3-4 days of prep. And then after, even though I'm a little beat up, I tried really hard to make it about the people that supported me and stuff, because they obviously did a lot of work. I'm just, I guess, being the guy screaming on ESPN.
No, that makes sense.
Sorry, John. I just want to say, like, this is kind of one of my arguments for more athlete interviews. We don't get enough interviews, especially in the United States. You go overseas and they seem a lot better about it. But when athletes aren't given a platform to speak, that's all you see is that intensity. And I think all athletes understand that intensity, because when you hit that, when you do something that's really great and you put all that emotion and everything into it, man, it just blows up. Like, that's totally normal, I think, for most athletes, but other spectators may not understand that. And without that opportunity to speak in front of the camera, like you only get one dimension of the athlete, and there's
Right.
so many more dimensions to all of us. I keep saying it over and over and over. Every time I talk to a promoter, like, you got to start doing athlete interviews regularly, after the events, in between the events, before and after the show. Like, there's so much more to sporting in general than just doing the sport.
Right.
No, I think that makes a big difference of like seeing the human face of things, because I think there is a lot of like opportunities there of like seeing Laz and Liz are just like wonderful people for strongman. It was great of like seeing the picture she took of you and everything. It
Yeah.
was really nice and stuff. Because yeah, it's funny. My wife actually saw your speech after the stone. She was like, "That's who you're interviewing tonight?" I was like, "Yeah, he's intense, but he's not like that on the interview. At least he hasn't been so
Can
fun."
you imagine if he came on here with just yelling for an hour? That would actually be a really good interview. I'm just
Just pacing around the room, just like coming over occasionally.
I mean, it's like a personal thing too. I mean, obviously, I had certain things I wanted to set straight as far as, you know, who's one of the best 105s in the world, and then, you know, it's just a buildup, and like people think you're doing it for the crowd. I mean, we're all kind of just selfishly doing it for ourselves. I mean, I get to win the prize money. I get my name on the trophy. Like, yeah, I talk about team and stuff, but it is going to be kind of like me. It's just, you know, I choose to give back to other people, but at the end of the day, it is still a very much a selfish endeavor. I mean, think about where we could allocate resources better than a strongman show in a parking lot. I mean, goodness gracious, we put all this money into this. There's like, you know, we could go down and be like, oh, there's kids that are hungry and poverty and stuff, but like here we are in a parking lot moving things from A to B. So, you know, I mean, I love strongman, but I'm also not an idiot to think it's the end all be all. And that's kind of what my whole point of like, I guess, retiring is I kind of got tired of like having to prove how good I am at 105. I basically set the record straight. I don't think anyone with a normal level of brain cells should contest me on any of those things. And if they do, that's not a very wise decision. Like I said, on another podcast, I said, maybe wait 24 hours before you talk about it. But yeah, there's more things in life to do. So, you know, have a family, have a career, you know, further business, have better impact on the world as far as just, you know, in general, not just like, oh, cool, man, he like yells and stones. I'm really pumped up, like entertainment quality. Like, I don't want to just be entertainment quality. I want to, like, you know, have some purpose to what I do. And I do think it did help having some messages. You know, I had the don't call it a comeback deal, and you know, some people didn't like that, and some people were salty about it, like, oh, Andrew bringing his poster and all, you know, oh no, here he goes again. It's like, that's a $1 poster that my dad picked up, and I used Sharpie before I did the qualifier, and it really did motivate me a lot, and it was really cheap. Like, think about how much money people pay for like pre-workout and like mindset coaching and all this stuff. I had a poster board in my garage, and that thing spoke to me. And then other people have sent me messages on Instagram. Like, somebody said their wife went through spinal surgery, and like they wish I had a shirt that said, don't call it comeback. I'm like, oh shoot, I probably need to do that. So like, you know, I recognize there's the people that some of the messages I have, like, you know, don't call it comeback, never quit. Those types of things, they resonate with a different population than my competitors. So my competitors might see it like, oh, here he goes again with these messages and these rants. Like, oh, he's not invited. But like, everybody, at some point in everybody's life, they felt left out or like not believed in. And that's exactly how I felt. You didn't invite me to the first clash. You didn't think I was one of the best in the world, you know, as far as the top 10 to be invited. And so I made sure I beat. I mean, I'm not saying this bad about Isaac. I mean, I did beat Isaac. He was the reigning champ. But I also beat the champ before that in previous competitions. And I also had opportunities where he could have showed up and beat me. So I made it very clear that I'm not the beat. Like, if you're not going to invite me, that's going to be a mistake. And I think that also resonates with people, is they've been counted out and people have been doubted because we have this world that's based on, you know, where you're at currently, not your potential. You know, it's oh, that kid's genetics are better. Let's put him in middle school or high school. And you get left on the bench and you're working your butt off and the coach never sees you and you're working. And I hope that kid freaking goes in there and just blasts the other kid off the line. You know, I told her a story how I just got my butt kicked in my middle school football. It sucked. And then I just like had to get better until one day I beat that guy. And that's a really good feeling. So that's how Clash felt. It was like, you know, they say you can't come back. They say you're injured. And I think that resonates with a lot of people. And I think that's what I wanted to say. That's what I wanted to say with that. It's have a bigger impact beyond myself. Is like, if you're that, like, not an underdog, but like, if you're that person that people are doubting, you know, don't believe in, or you're going through some type of adversity, like, find a way to motivate yourself. And it can be as simple as some words on a poster board, and then just like do the darn thing. And then one day it will pay off. And it took me 2 years to do that. It took 2 years of watching Clash go on while I was like, man, I know I can win this thing. Man, I know I can win this thing. And either I wasn't invited or had other things going on in my life. And then it lined up, and look what I did. I won the thing. And that feels really good. And that's the definition of being human, is like delayed gratification. Freaking people talk about it. Just delayed gratification, delay, and then you get it. It's not instant gratification. So there's a lot of lessons. And I know I'm like ranting about it. It probably sounds braggadocious again, but I just think these are really good lessons. I think I have to remind myself that if a certain group of competitors or people in the audience that don't like that, there's a lot of people that really it resonates with them, and they like the intensity, and they can get some inspiration from it, and it's a positive influence. So whatever negative comments are just such a minute number of the comments, it's mainly people that are like, dude, I really felt that, dude. That was intensity. Or like, yeah.
We started this podcast, Andrew, just to give you like, I'm on the same vein of what you're saying. We started this podcast and we were kind of a little concerned at first. Like, are people going to, accept us, or are we just going to get, thrashed? And we decided, you know what? Some people are going to like us and some people are going to hate us, and we can't control that. And so we just did it. And, whatever happens. And you're going to always have that, right? You're always going to have those people that you're just not going to please everybody. And then you're going to have those people that really resonate with what you're doing. And I think it comes down to just being you, and you've been being you and doing amazing things. And clearly you've got a very, very strong following on the socials in strongman in general. It's your third time on here. Of course, we're big fans. So just, keep doing you, man. We love it.
Yeah, I think people really do appreciate it because, just by the metrics, like at least on the podcast side, not YouTube, is harder to gauge and stuff. But
Right.
You're definitely like one of the like audience favorite guests. It's like, of course, Atlas Power Shrugged and Mark Deadliest Lift are up there, but then it's you and Nico, and people do like that kind of theatricality almost, but also the human element. Because I think at the end of the day, I think sometimes competitors can forget that a part of it is like it's a show, but it's also like an outlet for that. Of like, I think like seeing your rant after the stones and stuff, I think it's important to like get those things out there, because I think oftentimes people kind of like hide the things that they're like bothered by and just kind of like let it fester. Whereas sometimes like having it out there and just for the world, because some people will of course be like, oh, like that's obnoxious or that's whatever, but it's like it resonates with people. And I think definitely like a lot of our guests, like we talk to and everything, we do like to talk to people who have been left out occasionally and everything. That's kind of like our thing of like, so I think it's a good thing and people appreciate it. No, part of it, like Darren's told me of like, we've talked about it of like, you can't be everyone's cup of tea. And like, if you have really good flavor, some people aren't going to like that flavor, and that's better than being bland and just like,
I have good flavor
happy to be
now.
there. Yeah. Oh yeah. No, you do. Yeah. Yeah. You
And it's not going to be Andrew. Don't call it a comeback, Clayton. Now it is Andrew Flavor. Clayton, that doesn't have as good of a ring to it, but
It's true. It doesn't have as good of a ring to it. But
Well,
like,
we talked about, I know with you, John, I've like the mental health side and stuff. And it's like, if someone's having like a mental health issue and they're using lifting as like, I don't want to say therapy, but basically therapy, it'd be better for them to compartmentalize that to a small portion of their day in the gym. And I definitely still kind of do that versus like dealing with that issue all the time. So, I don't want people to like rage out, listen to heavy metal and just like throw weights around the gym. I think at some point that is a little destructive. You don't want to be a reckless person that trains, right? You don't want to like hurt yourself maxing all the time because you got to get it out. But I think if you can compartmentalize whatever issues you have into something that's constructive, but possibly like a little more intense, So like, yeah, I get really intense when I train. I listen to certain music and stuff, but that's like 2 hours of the day. And then the rest of the day, I'm like a calm, like, I think I told Donna, like, obviously with her, I'm not with her. I'm not the same way as I am like when I'm competing, and the same way like when I work like, I do online coaching. So I have clients and like they don't want to hear someone just like yell at them all the time. So I'm a softer with them. I'm not, I'm considerate, I'm compassionate. I understand there's other life things they got to worry about. So I'm not like, what do you mean you skipped that meal? Are you not dedicated? It's like, oh no, you have 4 kids. and you work a full-time job and you do strongman as a hobby, like, okay, well, let's just get back on track on the next meal. It's a different mindset. So I think if people are dealing with things and they can compartmentalize it to the gym, that's good. And for me, I compartmentalize it to competition. I'm not saying like I'm still not a little upset about it, but like it's just not going to flow into my everyday life. I'm not going to bring it up throughout the day. I'm not going to let it affect how I do my work. So yeah, and maybe it goes away a little bit. Maybe it's now that I've retired, I don't have to worry about it as much. But if it still lingered as far as like my motivation to train, oh well. It's like 1 or 2 hours of my day. It's a small portion of my overall existence. Don't do any clips of that being professional therapy advice, because it's not. It's not.
Professional bro science.
BetterHelp, and you can go to BetterHelp, and you can get potentially a better therapist, or one that tells you some very conflicting stuff, and one way or another. But it's not going to be me.
So you've mentioned retiring twice now. Is that kind of a for sure thing? You're not going to continue?
No, it's retiring from the 105 class. Like every time I've seen it posted, they don't really understand. And no, I'm not necessarily moving to heavyweight. Basically, strongman was fun when I could just like eat and find a competition and go do it, right?
Yeah.
Doing weight cuts. My first weight cut was actually 265, and it was just kind of like to win a local show when I was like 18 or 19. Because I was like 275. That's small, right? At 260, that's 10, 12 pounds, whatever it ended up being. But yeah, it's just not fun. Like I have to really focus on my diet. I can't get as strong. I have other projects I'm doing around my house and, with my business. So here I'm having to like do more work for a class I'm already kind of good at. And unfortunately, the money is kind of going up and down. And it's not going to be more money than what I can make if I put that time and effort into my business or other avenues. So I think it's like a maturity move of focusing on other things. I don't think I'll ever be done with strongman. I think there's still some goals I have. Either personal goals or just experience type goals I want to do. And then also I just kind of was tired of just, there's like so many 105 shows they say you got to do to be the best. And I think I pretty much said it. I mean, maybe I could have done America's Strongest Man, but I've done America's Strongest Man. I've podiumed it twice. I've podiumed every 105 show. I think I've told you guys that before. I don't have a ton of 105 shows, but I have enough to have given people an opportunity to compete against me. So yeah, it's a maturity move, and I got other things going on in my life. So.
Yeah,
that makes sense, because I think a lot of it, of like our guest Mark Deadliest Lift talked about it, because he was like, we asked him, we were like, you're insanely strong, why don't you compete? He was like, I don't want to have to structure my life to compete. Yes. I enjoy lifting for fun. Like I'd much rather like
it's not what I want to do. Like I don't mind tire flip, like I own a tire, but like I don't want to do tire flip. I don't want to have to drive to a gym 3 hours away to do an event. Like I own all this equipment. So like if I want to peak for something, if a local show 2 hours away is doing, I don't know, a max log, and I feel like doing a max log, like let me do a max log. And with USS, I could still do it because I guess I'm not a pro. I don't know, whatever a certain federation, I could still do it. So I'm not affecting my pro status. And then I could still, who knows, maybe some promoter overseas says, hey man, we really like your draw, your pull. Even if I don't compete, I'll probably have an Instagram following. So who knows, maybe someone invites me to do something, but I'm not going to make it like training. There's like 13 implements in Clash's show, or maybe more. I can't remember. I'm not going to train 13 implements to have fun. Like that's not going to happen. So yeah, that's kind of what my retirement was.
That makes sense, because I think like you said, there's a lot of like focusing on your business and like growing that side of things. Because I think oftentimes, like, I mean, you kind of said briefly described like competing as like a part of it is for you, but it does take up a lot of time and energy that like you could put towards your relationship and other things. So like maximizing those things, because like Donna's a wonderful person, so it's nice to like have that time. And Donna, what do you think of this retirement thing? What were your thoughts on it?
Well, it's interesting for sure, and I think kind of is just a testament to, like you said, his maturity and recognizing that there's so much more to his life that he wants to put his time into. And like you said, for relationships, for us too, it does kind of open up, more doors for us and moving forward and things that we have planned for ourselves for the future. So I think it's overall a good thing. And I think, we'll see where it goes, where it takes him.
Well, everybody wants to leave on their own terms. Yeah. So I don't want to leave on an injury. I still like to do a heavyweight show, but also like you want to leave on a win. And that's why I was nervous as heck after that deadlift event. I thought, man, for a split second, I thought I could accept being on the podium. It was really hard. I wasn't going to make the podium. I was like, man, I'm going to have to lose to some people, and I was like trying to like mentally process that. So it was really a blessing that it's not all me. There's higher power and stuff, but it really was a blessing. It panned out how it did, and I've told her numerous times, like, I can't believe this manifested itself into what it was. Because I told her exactly how I was going to do it. These are the events I'm going to win. This is what I'm going to do. I had a coach that said, yeah, you're like unbeatable. You're going to get this. And of course, I'm like, no, I'm not unbeatable. These guys are really good. I'm watching McKeegan pull freaking like 900 pounds. I'm like, geez, man, stop. And then he's showing up already basically at weight. So I know he's not going to have a bad weight cut. I have a lot of respect, I have a lot of respect for these guys. And I didn't think it was going to be easy. So I'm just really glad I managed to pull it off and basically went to the storyline that I had built up. And so I'm really blessed by that. And I think I've kind of asked enough of God already. So I think I've already gotten a couple in a row. So I feel like
don't want to press your luck.
Yeah. I feel like I thought I might have been pressing my luck after winning OSG. I was like, man, you gave me 16.5, but I don't know, man, how many more points left do you guys to give me? So yeah.
No, I think that's really good. And everything, because overall, like, it was a solid performance, and I like that idea of like going out on your own terms and stuff, rather than like just going until you literally just like break down and can't do it anymore,
right?
And stuff. So I think overall, it was a very impressive weekend and stuff. I always enjoy watching you perform and stuff. It was nice of like, like you told me, you're like, nice screen recording, because people always like, they're like, don't you have a nice computer? And you just like record live streams on your cell phone.
Which was the one you recorded, me yelling at the stone, or was
it the one afterwards, that when you announced your retirement, your last one.
Yeah. That was. I finally watched that myself. We just watched it a couple hours ago. I was like, hopefully that's on the stream, because my family didn't record it. They knew I was going to do it. I pretty much only told my family, her, my coach, and maybe like one or two close friends. So it was probably like less than like 12 people, well, about 12 to 15 people. So I just wanted to make sure it was kind of a personal thing. But yeah, it happened how I wanted it to happen. So I'm happy about that.
Yeah. And I think that's important of like, it's been great talking to you over the past few months about like the mental health stuff, because I think that is important of like being able to compartmentalize, but also kind of use that energy and stuff of like, a lot of times I think people can like make one thing in their life kind of like their central focus and stuff. Whereas like you were saying, like, you're more than just a strong man, because I think some people, their whole identity is like, I'm competitive and I compete and that's all I am.
Well, my Instagram kind of says that. It says a former professional strongman, and I'm trying to be a strong space man. And like, I got that actually from Bo Jackson, because he wanted to remember as a ball player, not a football player, like just kind of like a general term. It sounds like I'm trolling people, because I came back and I've been professional, but that's still kind of like my goal is like, no one really cares I'm a professional strongman. If I'm a dick to someone, they're going to think I'm a dick. And yeah, in the competition, I'm sure some people thought I was a dick. But like, all the people I talk to, when people come up like, hey man, like, can I get a picture or like this or that? I try to be really polite. I know, and that's not because I'm like, I shouldn't say trying. I am polite because it's who I am. Like, I'm going to be respectful, and I understand that, they want to see me as an athlete, like as a nice person. I'm not going to be a dick to them, but like for interviews and stuff, I am playing a character, and I'm also in the zone. And to stay in that flow state takes a different type of element of my personality. So yeah, I can't reiterate that enough. And I think some of the other guys do a better job of being even keeled in the competition, and in their own weird way. I told Dan has a really stoic type deal. And at one point I thought he was like kind of hurt. He had like ice on his quads, and I was like, did he tear something? I didn't have enough time to know. It was in the qualifiers, but yeah, like just how the way he walked out the stones and stuff, he has a different type of mentality. And I think it doesn't scare me, but I know now from competing twice with him that he's not going to look the way that I look when I'm in the zone. I do have like a very, just I'm breathing, and I'm just like slowly building up. And then I have obviously the yelling, screaming, slap in the face. So I do kind of have a spectrum, but he has a very stoic approach to things. And I kind of thought, oh, whatever, he's not going to be able to handle my intensity. And obviously he did really well. He came close now twice. He's gotten better because obviously the sandbag got improved. So basically I'm just complimenting. I'm basically saying like, I didn't think that someone could be that even keeled and be a savage, because I always thought Savage had to be a little bit more aggressive in some events. But yeah, I'm just giving him, his credit, to being a good competitor. And same thing with McKeegan, same thing with all the guys. I mean, a lot of guys didn't make guys got hurt, Jesse Nelson, O'Connor, those a lot of guys are just really good. So again, overall, it was a blessing. I was able to cap, my career with a win because it could have gone another way. And obviously I'd had to wait another year to Clash, and I didn't want to do that.
Yeah.
Dan,
I this is the Andrew show, but I still want to give props to Dan because I love Dan. I competed with Dan for the first time in 2020 in Waxahachie, Texas. It was technically the Ronnie Coleman Classic, but it got moved because that got canceled because of COVID. And I actually beat Dan. It was Justin, Lloyd, me, and Dan on the podium. And in just a few years, Dan has really become a powerful force to be reckoned with, and he's got a lot of years left in it, and I think he's going to do extraordinarily well in the future.
Yep, he's adapted really well. That's not to take away from him. He's adapted well to the current strongman structure. So what I mean by that is, like, obviously we're not running heavy yokes as much as we're doing medleys. Is a faster paced show. Deadlift is a priority. Like, he has a tremendous amount of work capacity on the deadlift from what I've seen from his training. High skill set, still staying athletic with being able to jump and run and stuff like that. So he's adapted very well to the current structure of strongman. So if he keeps going in that way and he keeps adapting, which I think he's a very adaptable athlete, very consistent, I don't see why he's not going to be at the top. And that's why I said in the interview with Liz, like, it's only a matter of time for guys like Dan and Matt beat me. So don't give him a chance. Get out.
Don't no delayed gratification there.
No, I think, and I liked Dan's honesty when he got interviewed by the woman at the podium thing, and he was like, "Yeah, no, it kind of sucks. Like, it sucks to come so close and stuff." And it was nice seeing that, like, human moment, because oftentimes people are like, "Oh, it's just nice to be here," and he was like, "No, it's this. It would be nice to win."
I mean, I've been in the same boat. I mean, I've been either off the podium or, losing by a fraction of a point. I've lost by I've lost 10 grand. So, I mean, those things suck, and like, they made me better. And then I end up beating the people that beat me. And now he won't have the opportunity, unfortunately, but yeah, I mean, he's going to be better for it. And, he's said things about, like, it hurts more to get second place than third, because third, you're just happy to be on the podium, and second place, you barely lost. But I know for myself personally, when I got one of my first or second times getting second place, I was just ticked, and I was like a man on a mission for like a year. So hopefully that's the same way he is. It motivates him even more. And then he rises to the occasion, and maybe he puts up a dominating performance where, I only won by a point or half point, whatever. I still haven't seen the score sheet. And maybe he puts up something where he wins just big margin, and I'd feel really happy for him to, win by a big margin and basically take what he essentially has been doing over and over and over, be on the podium twice now at Clash.
That makes sense. And two, like you said, you haven't seen the score rankings. I think you're retiring now. You're going to miss out when Strongman finally realizes that scores and points are important to have.
In the live stream, right? In the live stream.
There was a lot to be desired. There's a lot to be desired, and even on some of the coverage, like, I understand there was a lot of change of. I'm not knocking the people that. So Tyra Purdue did a great job, very professional. The judges were very professional. There were a couple, like, even certain events, there's going to be calls that maybe but they reviewed them. I was very impressed. I don't want to sound like I'm complaining, but obviously a lot of things happened in the adjustment of people leaving, coming. I don't even know all the stuff. I'm not even going to get into it. The point is, it changed a little bit from what I perceived from seeing it as a fan, viewer, spectator, whatever, online, and then being there. And yeah, the stream left a little bit to be desired. What was that thing I was going to say? I lost my train of thought. The stream and then some of the article coverage. Unfortunately, I saw a major article being written, and it was just, they didn't do due diligence in journalism, and I was just a little ticked that they basically just said I barely won, and this is only my fourth strongman victory, and I just thought that was very, like, just hit me up on Instagram, So hopefully some things like that improve. Maybe it's just the people they have in the Clash circle are just really overworked, trying to manage a lot of things. But yeah, seeing the show, getting to do it. The organization, the people handle, like, Corey Butler, like, was the heat manager for my heat, and then also in the finals as well. And nice. So basically it's just her running and getting me. And, like, obviously I'm like, I mean, I told her numerous times, like, please don't take my intensity. And, like, I'm not yelling at you. Like, thank you so much for being patient with me. And never did she, like, yell at me or whatever. She treated me like a professional athlete. And I just thought, they got 5 or 6 of those people, plus all the volunteers, plus, everybody was just really helpful in wanting us to do well. And I think if that continues and there's more money and the stream gets better and the cameras get better and the location potentially, improve, the backdrop or, those small things that make it better for the athlete and the viewer, I think it's going to improve. I hope it goes on. I don't necessarily hope it rivals OSG. I know that's kind of become the theme, is like OSG might lose some of its credibility because Clash is, quote unquote, the 105 world's strongest man. But for this year, we don't have to worry about that because they're shared by me. That's me being lucky, but we don't have to worry about it this year. But yeah.
No, I think that's good and everything. I know we are coming up on an hour here, and you guys are in Eastern Standard Time. So
we're actually if
daylight time.
I have a couple questions, and we could always if you have.
Oh yeah, no, we have time. I just wanted to.
Oh yeah, well yeah, we're not
your guys' time.
No, it's perfectly fine. So I have a couple questions, people. So, well, of course, someone's always got to ask, are you natty? So Donna actually eats organic and natural, and we went to Sprouts, so that's basically yes. I already answered what's next. We already talked about the mindset after the deadlift, so I'm answering some of those. One of the questions was like balancing strength and endurance. I think that was something interesting with Clash. Is a lot of guys, what I heard from other people was how to change their training to handle, going so quickly. And I know Donna heard some people talking about like if they only had 5 more minutes or had a little bit more time. And I worried coming from OSG where it's like hours and hours and hours between events, go up, go back down, go up. I think the pace was good. I think it's just making sure, being an athlete and strongman, like you do some type of cardio, some type of interval training. And I know I've watched your workouts, Darren, and like you're basically doing CrossFit now. Well, like that stuff, like I think a lot of the guys there, from what I heard from like the first, the second to the third year, is they added cardio, added some intervals, and they were able to handle the recovery a little better. I still think having like a ridiculously high strength reserve is very helpful because nothing there was very heavy to me because of heavyweight weights. But the conditioning I did, because I was scared I was going to be out of condition, helped with that work capacity and recovery. And I'm sure you can speak more on that since you obviously experienced it.
Yeah. I think, the older and more mature of an athlete I become, if you can even call me an athlete anymore, because I don't really compete, but I haven't officially retired. I don't know what my future is yet, but I've definitely found that conditioning, not necessarily cardio, but high intensity training more regularly, like I am not losing strength at all. And I'm giving my body an opportunity to be healed and rested for more productive and higher quality weight training days, event days. If I knew, I don't know if this is really true. If I knew what I knew now, would I have done it different back then? I don't know, because there's so many things that change as an athlete, as from being a beginner to an elite athlete as you age, and everything changes so much. But I would really encourage strongman athletes, especially in the weight classes where there is more conditioning events like you're doing bag to shoulder, you're doing medleys and everything like that, that you're going to find yourself in a better position, in my opinion, putting more time into becoming a more well-rounded athlete. You don't need to train the events, in my opinion. Like, this is me personally training the events every single day because you're at an elite level, because you have already conquered the form, right? I mean, there's always little tweaks you can do,
right?
But as a newbie, you need to train those events constantly because you need to learn how to do them. As you become a more elite athlete, you need to spend less time training the events and more time becoming a conditioned, athletic individual, right? Strength, of course, that reserve that you said is very, very important. So the strength aspect has got to be an integral part of your training, but it doesn't need to be every single day.
Right. Well, I just think I work backwards because starting from heavyweight, I obviously already had the ceiling, and then a lot of the events are still lighter than my max, like other than the deadlift. So that's really the only thing I had to push up was my deadlift for 105. I think to juxtapose your opinion on that. I think the hit stuff is good if you can handle the abuse like to the joints. Like I feel like for my knee and stuff, it just wasn't as productive. I think the biggest thing for Clash, and I think a lot of guys caught on this, was like getting used to doing the events like fairly quickly. Like, don't take forever to set your next event up. So like I had my training partner help. And so we did arm over arm in a parking lot, took a little while to clean up. Then we came home. We already had the sandbags out, ran the sandbag run a couple times, and then immediately we already had the stone set up, immediately put the tape on and ran the stone. And that gave me a lot of confidence for the finals, because essentially it wasn't arm over arm, but it essentially was like boom, boom, boom. And then, man, doing spin bike and walking, I just still think it's just like, just do that crap out there every workout, or, and just stay moving. I did intervals like once a week. I think the thing I debate on that with like the speed is like the lack of like skill acquisition, because some of the guys like are still relatively new and they're training for Clash type pace, so 8-10 minutes rest, and they're not acquiring the skill. So keg toss is a high skill event. So like I did train the deadlift and then basically just take off my belts and like pull my sleeves down and put my shoes on, and I have a keg toss in my backyard, one keg, and I would try to hit like the first rep I tried to hit, and maybe do like every minute on the minute for 8 to 10 minutes. But I still recognize that I had fatigue from the deadlift. So some weeks I was on, some weeks I wasn't. But it's a skill event in my mind. Yes, you're going to be moving a fast-paced show, but hopefully you can get your heart rate down in 5 minutes. So it shouldn't be a big issue. But yeah, that's my debate with some of the training I saw for Clash, was too much volume, too much focus on like minimum rest, and not as much high-quality top sets or skill work. So I don't care if you do a 250 log for 5 sets of 5. If I can one motion a 300 log in the medley, I'm saving a lot more energy than you. And if I can do it perfectly, I'm going to win. And that one motion is going to carry over to loading events, which we already said there's 3 extension events in the finals. So yeah, I watched some of my training partners training. They're in a different training age, so they're probably handling more volume. Maybe they're recovering faster between sessions. But I do think it's not as big of a difference between Clash and say OSG or normal shows people think. It's just don't be a slouch on like the steady state cardio, or maybe moving between events, or maybe occasionally doing an event day that's like half the competition events, right? Do 3 of them in a row, same pace, and then do some accessory. Like you said, do some athletic movements, box jumps, lateral movements, twist, things like that. Things that some people might argue as junk volume, but they're low enough intensity that you're not going to be trash from them. Because doing a yoke walk every week would be ridiculous. But doing a couple like lateral movements to work your adductors, I mean, once you do them, you're conditioned to them. And like I did like adductor slides or whatever. So Cossack squat, but like sliding it out and then sliding it back in. So like I was kind of ready for like on the sumo in case we slipped on the platform. Like I'm going to like not tear something.
Yeah.
I just tore my lat instead.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think you're clearly a much more accomplished athlete than I am, but I think structuring your training in a way, you like you said, the things that are less impactful and less stress on your body, you can do more regularly. Throwing, that technique stuff, you do that multiple times a week. Doing yoke like multiple times, heavy yoke, even week to week is so incredibly taxing on your CNS. Again, at the elite level, you should understand the mechanics well enough where you don't need to train that stuff as often. That's right. Just my kind of opinion. And I've actually found myself, the less I train yoke, the better I do at it in competition.
And that's why I alternated yoke as being like high quality session. So more rest between the sets, more speed, with like conditioning, where I like tried to do all the working sets up until the top weight, which is still not max for me. It's sub-maximal when I do 105. And try to do it quickly. So alternated that. So some weeks I was working conditioning like a show, like not a lot of rest. We're going to go. And the next week I'm like focusing on the start, or focusing on the speed through the center of the, 50 feet or whatever, or doing a drill, like having the band pull me backwards a little bit. So I think, again, yes, it's quality over
quantity, man, every day.
Yeah. And I like the fact that you mentioned of like the value of like walking and doing more low impact, steady state cardio type things, because I think people oftentimes put too much value on like the HIIT training, and it's like it's good, but like most people can do full intensity for 20 seconds and stuff, whereas I think sometimes like creating that like generalized work capacity and more long flow things of like, because you can see some people that once the events get going and stuff, if something's taking too long,
Yeah,
that's just
never
like you're
coming
falling
down.
apart.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's an interesting thing you brought up, because I think when Nick Myers was on the show, he talked about like very much focusing on like work capacity and like being able to like turn it on, turn it off, but be able to keep going if need be, rather than like
Right.
always like if you're on. That's like the idea we talked about of like you don't want to use ammonia every set you do, and you don't want to do high intensity training all the time, because like it is hard on your joints.
Wait. So I'm not supposed to have her slap me for every set I do?
I was gonna ask. I was like, how often
From
does she
warm up
slap you?
to
Yeah,
max
warm up.
effort.
Like from 135 up to 6 or 7 plates.
That would be a funny reel to do. Like the people who do those transitions where it's like when the bar gets to the top, another plate. Like do that, but like right before every lift, just a slap and then another plate appears.
My face would be so swollen. It'd just be
It's like those Russian slapping competitions that you see at the end where they're like their faces look awful, and it's like for a week or something. But now that you're retired, you could maybe explore that. Like you have slap tolerance, and you can go and do it at the.
You already got a little bit of experience, so.
Well, how much does it pay? It might pay more. No, I was kidding.
I mean, I think some pay like 10 grand, depending on where you do it. Like some pay like a stupid amount, because then there's the people that's betting. So there's like secret pools of money. I think the most I've seen someone win was like 50 grand off one slapping thing. But you also like, you might get severe brain damage.
Yeah.
But John, I already could be in strongman.
So already brain damaged.
Yeah. But did you have other questions from your people or anything?
Honestly, the endurance one was probably the best one. They asked what the weights were. Most of the weights were the same like at Clash. Like I think they asked what the log press was. So it was a 300-pound log. I don't know if that's because people, maybe some people missed it or just it was tough. I think the big dog log is very unique, and people just weren't expecting that. They were obviously confused with my retirement. That was one of the themes, was just, are you done heavyweight next? So I think we answered that. So overall, most of the questions are answered. So yeah, if you guys have any more, let me know. I don't think we had anything else, or is anything else for Donna with her background of how much of a mess I am when I'm not competing.
I was gonna ask what's Andrew like not competing? Like once competition's over, like what's your dynamic like? How's he like just relaxing? Like the philosopher he describes of just reading and walking.
It's interesting. You wouldn't expect. He's really sweet. He's just like a softie. He probably doesn't want me to say that.
His eyes just went.
I'm losing credibility.
He cooks me
losing credibility.
breakfast. We went to the art museum today. Like he's very different. Like probably the complete opposite of what you think. And even when we met, like I was like I thought, he was this intense person too, and then he has just a softer side of himself that we read. We like to talk about books, like we read, and oh yeah, this whole bookshelf back here. So he has a lot of different like aspects to himself that are outside of strongman that are kind of what we bonded over.
Nice.
Yeah.
What's the most recent book either of you have read? Or
I've been slacking. John.
Yeah. It's okay. I was gonna ask.
My book club is reading one about like World War II, like Hitler something. It's an audio book. The last one I think I finished. Shoot, I'm like losing my train of thought. It was the one on the family that created OxyContin.
The Sacklers.
Yeah, Sacklers. So that was really interesting. It's ever since I moved in my new house, I've been slacking on reading, but obviously I consume like other content and stuff. But yeah, all the psychology stuff is always fun to read, and like mindfulness and things like that.
We started the 4 Agreements.
recommended.
We each recommended a book for each other. So one of my favorite books is the 4 Agreements, and then he gave me It's When Breath Becomes Air.
Yeah, When Breath Becomes Air, which is a neurosurgeon that gets cancer. Well, it's just I don't know why I gave her one that would make her cry. That was a terrible idea.
I'm really sad I started reading it. I'm like, this is a really sad book.
Well, it was like that, or like And Man's Search for Meaning is another one that like makes you cry. Viktor Frankl. So they were kind of like in the same realm. But I was thinking of just books that were like really good that everybody can relate to. But yeah, so yeah, we like to read books and stuff together. I think one thing she didn't point out was like, I kind of alluded to it, I didn't really want to like compete on the second day. And I just kind of like laid on my bed we got it probably like 8:00. I ate. I didn't leave the hotel room. I didn't feel like it. I just like laid on my bed until like probably like 10:30, and then I took like a hot shower to like get back and ate again, and then took a hot shower, try to get kind of warmed up. But I mean, she saw more of like just like me not being motivated and stuff, which is hard because like you want to be that person that's always like intense and stuff. And then just helping me deal with like some personal stuff that kind of came up throughout the weekend. It's just nice to have someone that understands that. But yeah, I told her, it's kind of a lot like, because somebody said I was like MJ. I kind of used that. I'm sure you guys saw on Instagram. I was posting a quick post of MJ. Thank God I won. That's a pretty funny thing to do. I got his photo about not taking it personally on my wall. So she said I had to take it down because I can't be that bitter or whatever anymore. So
well, it's one of the 4 agreements.
One of the 4 agreements.
Don't take anything personally.
It's the 3rd one. So I made sure I only read up to 2. But yeah, so one of the things that they said about MJ, like not that I'm like super popular, but like he was, when he left his hotel room, he was bombarded by media all the time, and he has to be freaking Michael Jordan all the time. And not that I felt like that in a hotel where like only my competitors knew me, but again, when you're walking in a room, you want to be, I'm Andrew Clayton, the guy that just won OSG. I'm Andrew Clayton, the guy that like has said numerous times like you should have invited me. I'm Andrew Clayton, the guy that has like not invited, on his mirror for the last like 4 months, because every day I wake up, I'm like, yeah, you didn't invite me, I'm going to win. So it's really hard to like have the energy to do that all the time. So like in the hotel room, I'm just like, Andrew is not motivated time. So yeah, it's hard to get motivated, but I obviously was really motivated to have her there. It was really, when I got hurt, it was a big motivation to have her there because I told her I was going to win. And that would be pretty crappy of me to like not follow through on my word, because one of the agreements is be impeccable with your words. So I kind of said more than once I was going to win. So yeah.
I think that's really good and everything. I like that. Yeah, I'll have to read the 4 agreements. And then the really Sacklers, if you have time, Dopesick on Hulu about the Sackler family.
I heard about that.
Amazing.
When I was reading the book, I had numerous people tell me, I'm like, well, I don't want to watch the documentary and then not be motivated to read. I've got back. I'm starting to go to audiobooks. It's just hard to like pay attention. And then you can move up to like 1.3 speed. So you end up basically listening faster than you can read almost. So yeah,
that makes sense. No, it sounds like it's good and everything. Darren, do you have any closing thoughts or anything?
No, man, it was really wonderful having you both on. Wonderful meeting you, Donna. Yeah, no, very happy for both of you, dude. Congratulations again, Clayton or Andrew. Called you by your last name.
We did like Claiborne because they call me Claiborne on the stream, and I love wrestling. And his wife said I'm basically part of the family. I had to honor the family, and that's fine. They're on my fridge right now. But like, man, they call me different names. They call me Andrew Canby when I won World.
Andrew Canby.
I'm Andrew Claiborne. Am I just like a hybrid of like Canby to Andrew Clayton and Claiborne? It's just one. It's just a invincible athlete. You're by Taco Bell, or I'm like the Italian stallion at the same time. But I'm also a dick like Andrew. So it's like all those things at once. So
that's hilarious, man. Nobody can pronounce my last name either. Year 1, Furman got my name wrong. And so year 2, he started off wrong. So I coached him for like 10 minutes on how to like say my last name. We went live, all wrong. Couldn't say it. So.
And you took it personally, right?
No, I don't care. I mean, I do think, I think there's definitely a sign of respect when you are able, like for me, when I talk to people, I want to know that I get their names right when I'm talking about them or whatever. Because for me, it's like a sign of respect. But yeah, at the end of the day, I don't take it too personally because my name is. No, it doesn't sound like anything that it looks. So
it was a small typo, and I'm sure they typed his name in some Word document, so autocorrected. And so I'm sure Laws just had the wrong sheet in front of him. But it was just funny when I listened to it because I'm like, I know he's seen my name before. So it was probably a little slip on the stream, but yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, it happens, man. But again, congratulations once again. I'm sad to see you retire, but I look forward to what comes next. What's that for 105? Sorry.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys having me on.
Thank you.
It's always a great time, man.
Thank you, Donna. And by the way, before we quit recording, I just need to briefly mention the fact that we finally have shirts and banners.
Yeah.
And then
I got the banner. I don't have the full banner wall. I have all the banners from some companies I support and stuff. Oh, what's it on the back? What does it say?
The Strongman.
It says the Strongman Industrial Complex. Because Atlas coined that briefly because he claims that we're a part of the Strongman Industrial Complex. We have some other great ones like Powered by Peanut Butter. But you were one of the first people to get a banner.
I know. And I don't have it hung up yet because I'm not done organizing my garage with all the banners. Because I want to put them in like one big like sheet so I can roll it up and just drop it down in case I need to open my garage door. But yeah, I just haven't got all the banners I need and figured out which ones need to go in what order. But yeah, it's in my office right now. So
nice. But yeah, thanks for you both coming on. This is really great.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
All right, guys.
Support us on Patreon or Anchor, and find us on Instagram or Facebook.